Salute, salute, salute. What's happening, everybody out there in the boxing YouTube universe, man? Real quick video from Nocturnal, then I'm out y'all way. So I was watching Last Stand podcast with Brian Custer, and he had Charlo, the undisputed champion. Quick little 15-minute interview. They talked about a little bit of everything, right? You know, Terrence Bud Crawford, possible mega fight with him and Canelo. They talked about his brother, his older brother, or his bigger twin brother. Talked about him fighting Errol Spence, possibly. But the main thing, oh, and they talked about his previous fights, you know, Tony Harrison, this, that, and the third. But the main thing they talked about that I wanted to focus on, which I think is his mega fight, is his fight with Tszyu. And they talked about his hand injury. And then they talked about Tony Harrison versus Tszyu. One thing I didn't like that Charlo said, I think Brian Custer asked him if he learned anything new about Tszyu after watching the fight between him and Tony Harrison. First of all, Charlo said one thing I don't agree with. He said that the fighter that Tony Harrison was after him was never going to be the same. And which, you know, I give him that. You know, I feel like every fighter leaves a part of themselves in the ring after every fight, and even, you know, after training and everything, and then Father Time is undefeated. So, no, I don't think Tony Harrison is the exact same fighter that he was after he suffered a vicious knockout from Charlo. But at the same time, when I look at Tony Harrison getting knocked out in previous fights before Charlo, you know, then it's hard for me to say that. Like, was Tony Harrison the same fighter after he got knocked out by Willie Nelson? Was Tony Harrison the same fighter after he got knocked out by Swift, Jarrett Hurd? Was he the same fighter after he fought against Charlo? Was he the same fighter after he fought, you know, so on and so forth? So, no, I don't think he was the same fighter after he fought Charlo. And you tack on a couple of years, you tack on a lot of other factors. They come into play when I consider his fight against Tszyu. All the factors. So what I'm saying is, I'm not using the main factor that he wasn't the same after he fought Charlo. That's one of the factors. You know what I'm saying? How much it came into play when he fought against Tszyu, yeah, I don't know. But when Charlo was asked if he learned anything about Tszyu, his answer was surprising to me, because his answer was no, not really. And I thought that Tszyu would have even done better against Tony Harrison. And I thought that was a little strange of an answer, because, you know, I didn't see Tszyu stopping Tony Harrison in the way that he did. And I don't know if anybody really did. I'm pretty sure some people did. But I didn't think that Tszyu was going to stop Tony Harrison that viciously. So I was surprised. And did I learn anything? Like I said, I still have to say, I have to go do all of my due diligence on Tszyu, and maybe Charlo has, because Brian Custer also asked Charlo whether or not they changed anything as far as when they was training for Tszyu, and now that they seen him fight, is there any adjustments in training that they have to do? And maybe this was just an answer that didn't want to expose any strategies in the training camp, but Charlo kind of blew that off. Like, you know, we sticking to the same game plan, and he trusted Derrick James to come up with a strategy that's going to leave him victorious. You know, don't want to make this video too long. I just thought that was kind of peculiar that he said he didn't see anything surprising in the way that Tszyu broke down Tony Harrison. I felt like the answer should have been, you know, he's a little bit, you know, more patient than I thought, or you know, he has a better punt selection than I originally thought, or he surprised me by the way he knocked out Tony Harrison, you know, in the 9th round earlier than what I knocked him out in, you know. And the fact that, you know, Tony Harrison did have a lot of good moments against Charlo in the first and in the second fight that he didn't seem to have in the fight against Tszyu. But other than that, other than Charlo kind of not saying or giving Tszyu a lot of credit, I still feel like he seemed like he was very confident in his ability to come back from this hand injury. He said he had a cast on for a while. Now he's going through the rehab. A lot of delicate, intricate, you know, healing the hands. You know, that's sometimes once your hands are shot, then they just, you know, it's hard to, especially if you're boxing, you got to always use your hands. But sometimes your hands can even heal back stronger and harder. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen if Charlo is really going to be able to come back 100% and face Tszyu. He seemed very confident in his hands regaining strength. I don't know. I still don't know if he's going to take don't sound like he's going to take a tune-up fight. Sounds like, you know, he feels like he's still at the top and still in his prime. And if that's the case, then I think a mega fight wouldn't be between him and Canelo. Him and Errol Spence would be a big fight. They asked him about Sebastian Fortuna. That'd be a great fight. But I feel like the mega fight right now would be him against Tszyu, being that he had the fight already lined up, and then he broke his hand, and then Tszyu went in there and, you know what I'm saying, beat Tony Harrison in the fashion that he did. I think that fight has the biggest amount of traction you're going to be able to get, and people still split. There's a lot of people that, you know, are kind of on the fence when it comes to this fight, almost starting to sound like a 50-50 fight. Me, I still lean heavily towards Charlo, but I still want to see how he's dealing with this hand injury, and if he looks good, and if he sounds confident. And like you said, he even lost a little bit of weight, you know what I'm saying? And things that having a cast on his hand, you know, changed a lot of things. But now he's on the mends. Now he's regaining his strength. So we will see. I still feel like a 100% version of Charlo would be able to beat Tszyu. But I still have to do my due diligence on Tszyu. You know what I'm saying? I just watched one of his fights the other day, but I got to go back and rewatch it and really break it down, because this is one of his fights where I could tell that he was still, you know, he still wasn't nowhere near the same thing what I saw against Tony Harrison. So I don't want to make this video long. Salute. Y'all go watch the Brian Custer Last Stand podcast with Charlo. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I'm out.